Hello there, I'm Nita Rose, and in this video we are going to talk about Volume 25 of Rave Master. And we are going to start off with Chapter 201 titled As a Human. While Haru is fighting the guy, it turned out to be Branch who is the one asking him for help. Meanwhile, Ellie, Griff, and Pluto were climbing up the stairs, and then the koala guy was still right behind them. Ellie was willing to shoot him down, but that ended up blowing up the stairs along with him as it started to collapse. While Haru was dealing with Branch while telling him that he was a puppet to the Blue Guardian and has no control over his own body. Branch told his story of how he was being mistreated by others in the past, and because of his tragedy he took down the path of darkness and didn't want to be miserable again. But Haru doesn't seem to care because he was the one that caused all the people pain, and Branch admitted it. He told Haru that he only did it because he wanted to be accepted. But having a cyborg body is no way to live. Even though he already hates him, Haru still can't kill someone he knows and tells Branch that humans are not machines. Ellie, Griff, and Pluto manage to find an exit and ends up being someone's room, and right behind them is the koala guy with a new machine. Ellie is too injured to fight, and the koala guy gets a hold of her and starts gossiping about manified in her body just like he did to Branch. Ellie struggles to free herself, but then suddenly Haru comes down and destroys the machine while also demanding the koala guy to change Branch back into a human. But the koala guy can't do that because the effects are irreversible. This pissed off Haru that caused the koala guy to cry in fear. Haru lets him go as he runs away in tears, stealing the staff that Ellie had and creating a small little plan to escape. Ellie runs after him to get the staff back, and Haru is about to go after her until Branch comes in and tells him that there is a bigger problem going on. Ellie keeps chasing after the koala guy, but her injuries got her to stop, and then Papa found her. Ellie told him about the staff she found in the ground, and then he started to freak out and asked her if she removed it, and then suddenly pointed a gun at her. It looks like the man shot her to death, but he just put her to sleep. He told Griff that the only one who can remove the staff underground is the one who possessed the Etherion. He also said that the Blue Guardians has a radar to track people with magic inside them, but it will not be able to track Ellie if she's asleep. Back with Haru and Branch, he started to tell Haru about the Blue Guardian wanting the staff and the girl with the Etherion. He also told him that they planted bombs all over the area. Haru ran to Papa to tell him about the bombs, but then they both saw a smoke signal for the Blue Guardians to retreat. One of the captains suddenly mentioned that Ellie is not the only one who has the Etherion, which does beg the question, how is that even possible? The only other person who has Etherion is Raisha, and she's dead. I guess we'll find out soon enough. The people are now aware of the bombs planted into the ground, as Papa tells everyone to grab on a piece of scrap metal placed into the ground, and then a giant metal ship came up from the surface. Haru noticed that Branch was missing, as it turns out that he was the bomb the whole time, and said his farewells to Haru, wishing they could have been friends. While traveling on the metal ship, Ellie and Ruby get magical bracelets that help them hide their magic from being tracked. Later, the old man tells them about the staff and that it was created by Raisha for the purpose of summoning Endless. But Haru doesn't believe that Raisha would create the staff to do such a thing. But then the old flower man communicates with them and tells them that the staff can be used to destroy Endless, but in the wrong hands it will cause chaos, and now they are willing to get that staff back. Now amongst the enemy ship, there is a woman named Belnika who claims to be the other person with the power of Etherion. Later on, Belnika fell ill to the adjustment of her powers, which had gone wrong, and they decided to give her a one-day rest. Meanwhile, with Haru and the crew, the big guy has been making adjustments on the ship. While being stranded, Ellie decided they should all take a rest, but Haru wants to go after the enemy. But Ellie tells him no, and that he should get some rest, otherwise he'll exhaust himself. So they made their way to the closest village to get some supplies. While they separate to get supplies, Haru starts walking around looking for fuel until he decided to take a rest. But then he accidentally ends up falling asleep, and he wakes up seeing a woman sitting next to him. Belnika was kind enough to give him a blanket when she saw him asleep there. She also noticed the injuries on his arm and gave him a lucky charm bracelet to help him heal better. But then Ellie came along and smacked him upside the head, thinking that he was flirting with her. Haru mentioned her name, and Belika was stunned to hear it as she and Ellie stared at each other for a good solid minute. Ellie sensed strong magic from the girl as she grabbed Haru and walked off. But Belnika doesn't believe that was Ellie because she didn't feel her magic ability. Well, that's because Ellie was wearing that bracelet to help her hide her magic, and that's why Belnika didn't sense the Etherion from her. While Ellie dragged Haru along with his injured arm, he realized there is no pain pain, and Ellie keeps having the strange feeling from Belnica. Belnica returns to her crew as she wishes to return to her master, Hardner, who plans to save the world with the power of overdrive. Okay, overdrive is not the term used to save the world, considering what happened in the past. The last time overdrive was activated, the whole town blew up, so I don't think this girl knows what she's getting herself into. While back with the crew, Haru is happy that he's all healed up and swirling his arm around like a little kid. Ellie seemed to have jealousy on her face, but she's also concerned about the girl she met earlier. Now at the Blue Guardians headquarters, we meet Captain Hardner. The stolen staff was given to Belnica, and to prove that she is capable of using it, Hardner shot at her and she seemed to unleash the power within the staff, believing that she is someone other than Ellie who can use a Therion. Hardner has accepted Belnica into his crew, and later she decided to trust her new crew members even though they are rogue pirates. Meanwhile, Haru and the others have made their way to the Blue Guardians fortress, and the big guy decided to take the quickest way in and crash through. The enemy attacked them, but the crew planned a counterattack, but the big guy told Haru that they have something else to do by sneaking into the fortress with a ship that looks identical to the enemy's ship. And as it turns out that the leader of the Freedom Fighters used to be a member of the Blue Guardians. Ellie and Haru were surprised that Yuma was a member of the Blue Guardians and that he and Hardner were once close friends. But then something happened and now the two of them are enemies. This reminds Haru about the same event between his dad and King, but Yuma yelled at them to hurry up and get on board. Nagisa is willing to take control of piloting the ship, but Yuma forbids her, but she proceeds to go with them anyway, and Yuma decided not to argue with her, even after discovering that she took upon herself to attack one of the members of the DC without Yuma's consent. So, she pretty much took upon herself to kill a man, then try to take her own life, making it look like the Freedom Fighters are unjustified a-holes who forces men to commit suicide if they fail a mission. Yeah, I think Nagisa may have some issues she needs to work out, but I don't want to get off topic and focus on the chapter. So now Haru and the others trick the people into opening the gate. But Haru knows that the ship that's coming through the gate is not one of theirs, as he noticed that the sound of the engine sounds like an older model and is ordered to be shot down. The ship goes down as Yuma has them retreat, but Haru suggests that they need to keep moving forward as they need to get that staff back. Haru climbed on top of the ship when he noticed missiles shooting at him from every direction and there seemed to be no escape. But then all of a sudden, Belnica sensed Haru's presence and unconsciously used her powers to save him, and Ellie noticed that as well. Now that they were miraculously saved, Haru takes a chance and uses gravity core on the wall to make an opening for the crashing ship. They all jumped off and are ready for battle, but then suddenly they all seem terrified of something. And that something is a pile of dead corpses. After feeling horrified at the scene, they decide to press forward until they run into Captain Hardner. Nagisa announced herself as Yuma's daughter and demands them to give him back the staff. But Hardner has his plans with the staff, as he also mentioned there is another person besides Ellie who has the Etherion. The crew is of course shocked by this information. Now Hardner's ship is making its way to Makai, which is Let and Julia's hometown, and plans on destroying it by using Endless. Let and Julia are in a furious rage as they want to know the reason why, but Hardner is not telling them and Julia goes in for an attack, but he disappears before she gets close. Even though Makai is considered a demon world to humans, Haru refused to let that world be destroyed. But then suddenly the koala guy is back with a brand new machine, and just before he's about to fire his cannon, he gets frozen, along with his entire machine, as it turned out to be Shuda and Julius. The crew seems happy and yet surprised, as Haru and Musica suspect that they were the ones who took down all the people that they found earlier. But Shura told them that it wasn't them since they just got there. Now Haru speculates that it was someone else entirely. Hardner is relaxing in his chair as Lady Lunar orders them to send 6 guards, including herself, but Hardner wants to keep her close as she is their trump card and have them send Belnica instead. One of the men who is looking after Belnica is concerned about her safety, but she's still willing to follow Hardner's orders. Meanwhile, Haru and the others have learned that Shira and Julius were in the supply ship within the enemy's walls. But then Julia and Let heard a strange noise as the floor started to break apart and everyone got separated. Belnika is on the search for the intruder until she sees someone fall next to her, as it turns out to be Haru, and she's surprised to see him. And that wraps up this video. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to check out my other parts on TikTok, and don't forget to look me on Discord and X. And I'll see you all next time. Nita Rose out.